Welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host for today, going solo, Anthony Rivardo, the leader of the Joe Judge fan club. Today we got a pretty interesting topic. I'm going to be discussing Kenny Golladay and the impact that he's going to have on the Giants offense and the way that it's schemed around him. Kenny Golladay is going to make the Giants offense a lot more vertical this year. Last year, the Giants offense was often just run 10 yards and turn around before you reach the first down marker, right? Everything was very shallow. Intermediate range is what Jason Garrett really liked to focus on. He liked to establish the run and open up a lot of quick passing concepts underneath, which really didn't serve the Giants too well. Of course, as the Giants averaged a measly 17.5 points per game, had absolutely one of the worst offenses in the NFL last year. But the Giants recognized that. They said, wow, this offense was putrid. Let's go out there, let's spend some money, and let's fix it. So they went ahead and they signed Kenny Golladay to a 4-year, $72 million contract. They went inside Kyle Rudolph. They went and added John Ross, Devontae Booker, some quality depth pieces. And then, of course, they went with Kadarius Toney in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. So the Giants have totally revamped their offense. They went out there and added a ton of talent and gave Daniel Jones really all the playmakers that he could ask for. You add Golladay in with guys like Evan Engram, who I know Giants fans are really low on right now, but he's a solid player when he's able to catch the ball. If he's able to do that, he can be good, right? Of course, you're adding Golladay alongside Kyle Rudolph as well. He brought him in to really alleviate a lot of those flaws in Evan Engram's game. Sterling Shepard is still there as a solid, reliable slot receiver, underneath receiver. Darius Slayton, a good deep threat, outside guy, Z receiver. And of course, Kadarius Toney, the electric ankle-breaking, leg-shattering playmaker who just can't be tackled. 35% missed tackle rate in his career at Florida. Only 3 drops on over 120 catchable targets for Kadarius Toney in his collegiate career. So, phenomenal playmakers that the Giants added this offseason. This Giants offense should be way better than it was last year. This should improve exponentially. The Giants really should have a top half of the league offense. It should be one of the top 16 best offenses in the NFL, provided that Daniel Jones plays like a quality quarterback. I think that he's played pretty good. He needs to play a little bit better, and then I think the Giants can have a top 16 offense. And of course, it's going to come down to the offensive line. How can they do? The offensive line has some big question marks. A lot of people are questioning the right tackle position. I'm not. I believe in Matt Parrott. But I am questioning the left and right guard positions, Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez. I have big questions about those guys, and so do most Giants fans. But that's really to recap the offense, and now we'll, think back to last season, with Jason Garrett calling this offense for the first time, and Daniel Jones was arguably the best deep ball thrower in the NFL last season. He threw just bombs downfield, Danny dimes down the middle of the field, 20-plus yard passes. He was one of the best quarterbacks going vertical all season long. In terms of Pro Football Focus grading, he had the 3rd highest deep passer grade in the NFL, only behind, I think, Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. I think he was ahead of Russell Wilson, surprisingly enough. So Jones was really good on the deep ball, next-gen stats. He even said that he was the number 1 deep ball thrower in 2020. But the problem is, the Giants didn't throw the ball downfield enough. They just didn't throw vertically. Their offense was just very shallow. It didn't have a lot of vertical passing concepts. You didn't see a lot of scissor routes. You didn't see scissor concepts, rather. You didn't see a lot of posts and corners and double moves that go vertical. There just wasn't a whole lot of that. When there was, it was usually against single high safeties, one-on-one looks outside, maybe up the seam, and that's what the Giants like to attack. They were very strategic and very selective with their downfield approach. But in 2021, now that you got Kenny Golladay, that's got to change. You got to get the ball downfield a whole lot more, and you got to start bombing that thing out to Kenny Golladay. Because Kenny Golladay is the quintessential go up and get it wide receiver. He's that big body guy. He's 6'4". He's a big guy who is one of the best contested catch receivers in the NFL. He is the contested catch king. According to Pro Football Focus, there are only a couple of 2 wide receivers in the NFL that are better deep threats than Kenny Golladay. And I think, I agree, because you look at guys like Tyreek Hill who get vertical with just straight speed, and you look at guys like Kenny Golladay who get vertical with speed but also physicality and strength. Kenny Golladay just out-muscles every cornerback that tries to touch him. He's just bigger and he's stronger, and he's going to go up there and he's going to make the catch. According to PFF, Golladay ranks 4th among NFL wide receivers in deep receiving yards over the past 3 years. and he was just 9 yards behind third place, and he only played in 5 games in 2020. So had he played the full season, there's a good chance Kenny Golladay would have the second or even the most deep receiving yards in the NFL over the past 3 years. He has the second highest contested catch rate in the NFL since 2018. Again, going back to the fact that you got a guy on your back and you're throwing to Kenny Golladay, like, Kenny Galladay's coming down with it. Like, he is going to outmuscle people. Randy Moss is, of course, the mossing. That is the verb that comes from Randy Moss. But Kenny Golladay can go out there and moss some people, you know. You think back to Calvin Johnson, Megatron of the Detroit Lions. Well, Kenny Golladay is called Babytron for a reason, because he's 6'4", he's big, and he goes up and he gets it, and he runs a vertical offense really well, and he really is kind of like Megatron light, you know. Megatron, there's no one like Calvin Johnson, don't get me wrong. Calvin Johnson is maybe the most gifted receiver of the past, 15 years. Like, that dude was a specimen, and he was the best receiver in the league every time he stepped foot on the field until he retired prematurely. But Kenny Golladay has similar playing style, just big, tall, goes vertical, has good speed, and catches it over anybody, which I love. So, like I was talking about earlier with Daniel Jones, he had a 95.6 passing grade on deep balls in 2020. And Kenny Golladay had 628 yards on deep passes, ranked second in the league in his breakout 2019 season. Now, that 2019 season was really special for Kenny Golladay. That was when he really had his breakout. The Detroit Lions went 3-12-1 that year, so they were abysmal. They were terrible. I believe that Matthew Stafford was injured for most of that season, though, which really hampered their record, hampered their offense, and everything in between. But it did not hamper Kenny Golladay. He made the most of a bad situation. He put up 65 receptions, 1,190 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And he had really high 18.31 yards per reception. Again, showing just how vertical he gets, how almost all of his receptions come deep downfield. He just loves to go vertical, and I think that's phenomenal. That's something that the Giants are going to really value adding to their offense this season, because they were missing that vertical threat last year. Like, I think they wanted to go vertical more often than they did, but it's kind of hard to do that when you just don't have a guy who can go downfield, go up, and get it. But now they finally do. Kenny Golladay was signed by the Giants to be their, number one wide receiver, their primary receiving threat, that X receiver, right? That number one guy that you need in your offense. And they really didn't have that last year. They didn't have anything close to that. But now that they do, I think the Giants' offense is going to improve a whole bunch. If you look at Kenny Galladay's advanced receiving stats, he did have 6 drops in 2019, that Pro Bowl breakout season, so maybe just keep an eye on that. But he only had 2 in the 5 games in 2020, so maybe he does have a couple drops a year. He's not the most sure-handed receiver, but I'm telling you, when it's a 50-50 ball, it's really like a 70-30 ball in favor of Kenny Golladay. Like, he will go up there and make those plays. If you look at his average depth of target, that's another interesting stat that also tells you he's getting pretty vertical. 2019 and 2020, his average depth of target in both of those seasons was 14.6 yards. So he's going downfield, and he's going to make the plays for you. Of course, you look at, what the Giants offense did with guys like Sterling Shepard last year. Sterling Shepard, for the most part, just ran a lot of underneath routes, which is probably better in his skill set, but he was their number one receiver. Should Sterling Shepard really be the number one receiver on an offense? Probably not, and I think that's going to change now, of course, with Kenny Golladay here, and you might even see Sterling Shepard be the third target, depending on how Kadarius Toney does in his first season. So as I pull up a few more statistics here, in 2020, on deep 20-plus yard passes, remember this is only in 5 games, Kenny Golladay was targeted 7 times on those deep passes. He caught 4 of them for 142 yards, and he only had 1 drop. And here's a really fun stat. So 3 of those, he had 3 contested catch targets on those 7 targets downfield. He caught all 3 of them. 100% contested catch rate. Now it gets even more fun. Ready? From the 10 to 19 yard range, those medium throws for Kenny Golladay. He was targeted 13 times. He had 9 receptions, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Remember, this is in 5 games. Again, he had 6 contested catch targets in the 10 to 19 yard range that season, and he caught all 6 of them. 100% contested catch rate. Contested catch king. That's what Kenny Golladay is. Like, he does not drop passes no matter who is on him. Let's go back to that 2019 season, that breakout year that he had, and take a look at this. That 10 to 19 yard range, he had 18 contested catch targets. He caught 13 of them, a 72.2% rate. He had 36 targets deep that season, caught 16 of them, 628 deep yards. I said that stat earlier. 5 deep touchdowns that year. Average depth of target on those 20-plus yard throws was 31.1 yards. They are bombing this thing out to Kenny Golladay, and that's what the Giants are going to have to do. And even in that 10 to 19 yard range, where you're not saying that it's a vertical deep shot, but you're saying he's getting at least downfield past the sticks. 298 yards on 21 receptions and 3 touchdowns, and a 98.0 receiving grade by PFF. So when you talk about going vertical with Kenny Golladay, you're talking about getting arguably one of the best vertical threats in the entire league, and that's what the Giants signed this offseason. So in terms of contested catch rate throughout his career, he's at 60.2%. In 2020, he caught 76.9% of his contested catch opportunities, which is pretty incredible. His drop rate is a little bit higher than you might like it to be for your number one receiver, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be just fine when Giants fans see Kenny Golladay go 40 yards downfield, catch a ball over somebody, keep running, and get into the end zone, because that's really what he does. And another thing with Kenny Golladay, not only does he improve the vertical prowess of this offense, he makes it a more vertical offense and challenges those deep safeties and makes them respect him and respect Kadarius Toney's speed. You have to respect the long ball with the Giants now. Last season, no respect. Teams did not care. They covered zero, all out blitzed all the time, just left everyone in man coverage because they didn't respect the Giants receivers to go vertical and get open. But now that they do, they're going to respect it. Now that the Giants have this talent, they will respect it. And they will also respect Kenny Golladay in the red zone. This is a guy who is phenomenal in the red zone. You look at his big 6'4" body and you say, okay, just throw it up. He'll go get it. And you say that about Kyle Rudolph as well. Kyle Rudolph, when he did his introductory interview with the New York Giants media, he said playing in the red zone is a lot like basketball. You have to rebound. You have to box out, go up there, and make those contested catches. If you can't make a contested catch, you're not going to succeed in the red zone. Giants learned that all too well last year because they weren't that successful in the red zone. This upcoming season, though, they got Kyle Rudolph great in the red zone. 40 of his 48 career touchdowns in the red zone. Phenomenal red zone threat. Then you also have Kenny Golladay, 6'4" receiver. Can run a good slant route in the red zone, can run the fade route. He can do it all. That red zone offense is going to improve drastically for the Giants next year. Now, of course, this is all hinged on Daniel Jones. This is all going to be all about Daniel Jones. How can he do this season? Will he be able to replicate his deep ball success? Will he be able to, keep things going in that range and keep bombing down dimes downfield, right, to Kenny Golladay? I personally think that he will. I think that Kenny Golladay is going to just add a whole nother dimension to this offense and really unlock another mode of Daniel Jones where he feels more comfortable going downfield and throws more passes downfield because he didn't have a lot of passes downfield in 2020. While he did throw downfield at a very efficient rate, he did not throw downfield at a very frequent rate. And that was the problem with the Giants offense. They were good at going vertical. They have some great arm talent going vertical. They just weren't going vertical enough. So the stats on that, deep 20-plus yard passes, Daniel Jones only threw 43 of them. Now, he completed 20 of them. He had 6 touchdowns going vertical and 0 interceptions, which, again, we're talking about how amazing he is and how accurate he is going downfield. But they only threw 43 deep passes. They threw 247 passes from Daniel Jones between 0 and 9 yards. It's got to change, Giants. You have to do something more, and I think that they will. And I have a couple reasons why. The Giants really revamped their offensive coaching staff this offseason. It's not just Jason Garrett's show anymore, right? Now you also have Freddie Kitchens in a senior offensive assistant role. I think that's going to be huge for the Giants because I think what that's going to do is make the offense more vertical. If you think back to the Browns game in 2020, where Jason Garrett was absent dealing with the COVID-19 virus, Freddie Kitchens stepped in as the interim offensive coordinator for that game. He was the replacement. The Giants' average depth of target was a lot deeper. They were going vertical more frequently. They had a lot more vertical routes on the field. Freddie Kitchens likes to run a more vertical offense, and he also likes to do a dual running back attack, so keep an eye out on that with Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker, maybe Gary Brightwell. We'll see. But in terms of Freddie Kitchens' offense, if you think back to when he was with the Cleveland Browns, helping Baker Mayfield enter the league, think of Baker's rookie season where he broke Peyton Manning's touchdown record, right? His passing touchdown record, I believe. He was bombing the ball frequently, going vertical. That offense was very vertical, and they like to use a lot of bootlegs to get one-on-one opportunities downfield. Very vertical offense under Freddie Kitchens. And I have to imagine now that he's in the senior offensive assistant role and the Giants are trying to fix this offense that was broken last year, have to imagine Freddie Kitchens is going to say, we got to throw the ball downfield more often. We got to get more vertical. It opens things up underneath. It gives us deep opportunities, gives us big play chances. Got to do it more often, and I think that they will. Another addition that the Giants made to their offensive coaching staff, Russ Callaway from LSU. Now, he's brought in to be the offensive quality control. That's his job. He does quality control on offense. So what that basically does, his job is to look at the analytics, say what's working, what's not, what the offense needs to focus on, what it needs to get away from. Now, if they had the offensive quality control coach last season looking at Daniel Jones' 20-plus yard stats, saying 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, ton of deep yardage here, really high passing grade, super accurate downfield, but not enough attempts. Jason Garrett, let's get those attempts up. That's what Russ Callaway's job is now. Let's keep the quality high. Let's get more deep passes in there. So I think you add in Freddie Kitchens, you add in Russ Callaway, they're going to help the offensive scheme get more vertical with Jason Garrett, and then you also add in the talent of Kenny Golladay, the talent of Kadarius Toney, and that personnel is going to allow Jason Garrett to feel more comfortable calling vertical plays, and it's also going to allow Daniel Jones to feel more comfortable throwing vertical routes and throwing the ball downfield. So Kenny Golladay, Freddie Kitchens, Russ Callaway, they're all going to help this Giants offense get more vertical. But because Kenny Golladay is such a great deep threat and he's so reliable vertical, I mean, that's going to change the Giants offense. He is what's going to change how the New York Giants play on offense. He's going to allow them to throw more deep opportunities, be more efficient with their deep opportunities, and really just open up this offense to a whole new world. And I can't wait to see it. I think that Kenny Golladay could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver this year. He's being really slept on in fantasy drafts. I know fantasy drafts are coming up. Him and Daniel Jones are being really slept on. Keep an eye on them. They might be some sleepers in the later rounds that you can steal, and they could potentially have a really good season together, those two. So that's exciting as well. Daniel Jones entering his 3rd season. It's make or break now. This is his make or break year, and I think that he will make, but they got him Kenny Golladay. That should help him make, but hopefully he doesn't break because then we're going to be in quarterback hell. No one wants to be there. We've seen our rivals enter there. It's been fun to watch them, but we don't want to enter there anytime soon. So, Kenny Golladay, man. Let me know down in the comment section below on YouTube. What do you think? Give me your stat predictions for Kenny Golladay this year. I'm thinking 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Let me know down in the comment section what you think he's going to do this season in terms of his stats. Daniel Jones, what do you think his stats are going to be? How many deep passes, passing touchdowns do you think he's going to have? He had 6 last season. I think he bumps that up to 9, maybe 10 even with Kenny Golladay on the roster. I just think they're going to go vertical more, and I think they're going to find more opportunities to throw the ball deep, and they're going to take them. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. I think that it's going to be a big year for Kenny Golladay, big year for Daniel Jones, and hopefully a big year for the Giants offense as they bounce back from a terrible 2020 season. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about Kenny Golladay and the Giants offense, about how much more vertical you think it's going to be. And as always, once at the fireside, always at the fireside, thank you for tuning into this video. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more great, elite New York Giants content. Ring the bell so you get notified every time we post. And, of course, subscribe to Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you can't watch the video, you can't sit down, you're in the car, you're working out of the gym, you just want to listen to us and hear what we have to say about the Giants, go ahead and listen to us on your selected podcast app, of course. So stay tuned to the new membership roles that we're adding soon. We're adding a membership part of the YouTube channel. We can't wait to roll that out for you guys. There's going to be a lot of exclusive elite content and a lot of collaboration with you, the fans, through the membership program, and it's going to be really great. So stay tuned to that. We're going to be unveiling that really soon, and I can't wait to get that open for you guys real soon here. So, of course, let's go Giants. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.